Welcome to the lost pages of history as we unearth the stories buried by time in a world of deep, dark woods and small settlements clinging to the edge of the wild. In this world, a lone figure moved like a shadow, her footsteps silent on the forest floor. They called her Maliaket, the Indian doctress. Her hands, skilled in the ancient arts of her Abenaki ancestors, could soothe a fever, mend a broken bone, and chase away death itself. The settlers saw a savior, a miracle worker. But what if they were blind? What if behind the gentle eyes of the healer lay the calculating mind of a spy? For the next 10 minutes, prepare to question everything you think you know. We will unveil a shocking possibility that Maliakat's medicine was a mask, her kindness a key, and every life she saved was a secret gathered for a war no one knew she was fighting. Her real name wasn't Maliakat, that was a crude English approximation, a label for the woman they thought they knew. Her true name, given to her by her people, was Singing Bird, a name that echoed a life before the wars, before the settlers, before the world turned upside down. She was born into the crucible of the French and Indian War, a time of chaos and violence. She witnessed her home burned, her people scattered, her land stolen by encroaching colonial forces. It was in the ashes of her world that she forged a secret resolve, while she learned the healing properties of roots and leaves. Mastering the ancient knowledge passed down through generations, she also mastered a different, more subtle art, the art of invisibility in plain sight. She walked between two worlds, a ghost in both. In the dwindling Abenaki camps, she was a keeper of their traditions, a living library of a culture under siege. In the colonial towns of Maine and New Hampshire, she was the curious, helpful Indian, a non-threatening figure welcome at their firesides and, most importantly, at their sickbeds. They opened their doors and their hearts to her. They shared their secrets without a second thought, their fears about the harvest, their grumblings about British taxes, the number of men in their militias, their weaknesses. They never suspected that the quiet woman dabbing a cool cloth on a fevered brow was cataloging every word, every detail, every vulnerability. Think about it, her documented fondness for their rum. Was it a simple pleasure, a common vice of the era? Or was it a brilliant tool, a way to appear more like them, to disarm them, to loosen their tongues and gain their trust? Every friendly chat, every shared drink was a transaction. Every cure she provided was an opportunity to gather intelligence. She wasn't just healing bodies. She was mapping the social and military landscape of the colonial frontier. Each patient was a source, each village a new node in her information network. Let's look at one of the most famous stories about her, the time she saved a young boy from a serious illness. That boy grew up to be Hannibal Hamlin, who would later become Abraham Lincoln's first vice president. An act of selfless kindness? Absolutely, but it was also a strategic masterstroke. By saving the son of a prominent family, she embedded herself deeper within the colonial power structure, becoming an asset so trusted, so revered, that she was beyond suspicion. Who would ever question the motives of the woman who saved their children? She became a legend in her own time, her reputation as a healer providing the perfect cover. And what about her journey to the coast? The story goes that she spent time there learning European medicine. On the surface, it seems like a simple educational trip, a healer expanding her knowledge, but look closer. This wasn't just a field trip. It was a reconnaissance mission into the very heart of the enemy. It was a chance to understand their knowledge, their technology, their way of thinking from the inside. She learned not just their cures, but also their limitations. She observed their society, their ports, their defenses. This was invaluable intelligence that she could carry back to her people. The story of Maliaket, or Singing Bird, is not the simple tale of a benevolent healer that has been passed down through generations. It is a far more complex and compelling story of a secret life, of a one-woman intelligence agency operating under the most perfect cover imaginable. It is the story of a silent, brilliant resistance, waged not with arrows and muskets, but with herbs, whispers, and a profound understanding of her enemy. She was a spy hidden in the open, a warrior disguised as a healer. She weaponized kindness and turned medicine into a form of espionage. Her life demonstrates the incredible resilience and strategic genius of indigenous peoples who fought to protect their world in ways the colonists could never comprehend. She fought a long, quiet war, not for glory or for land, but for the survival of her people and their way of life. The next time you hear the name Maliaket, remember Singing Bird. Remember the healer, but also remember the spy, the woman who proved that the most powerful weapon is often the one that is never seen. As we met the healer and legend Molly Orcutt, we journeyed through the raw, unforgiving settlements of 18th century Maine, where she was crafting a new identity. It wasn't just about dispensing cures. It was about building a reputation as a woman of immense and mysterious power. This was no accident. It was a calculated strategy, a second, more powerful layer of her disguise. This is the story of how Molly Orcutt built a fortress of fear and to protect her people. Let's start with her curses. The legends are chilling. A settler who cheated an Abenaki hunter might find his well water mysteriously turning sour for a week. A merchant who refused her shelter on a cold night could discover his stored grain inexplicably riddled with mold. Were these supernatural acts? Or was this the work of a master herbalist who knew precisely which root could taint a water source, which fungus could spoil a harvest without a trace? Molly Orcutt was waging psychological warfare. Each whispered rumor of a curse was like a press release, a stark warning to the colonists. This land has a memory, and so does its keeper. One story passed down through the generations tells of a settler who stole Molly's hatchet from her camp on Hemlock Island. Sometime later, visiting his cabin, she recognized it. She said nothing, not a single word, but from that day forward, the family's luck turned. Their livestock fell sick, their crops failed, and a shadow of misfortune seemed to hang over their home. The stolen hatchet became a silent symbol of their downfall, a quiet but powerful testament to Molly's reach. You didn't cross Molly Orcutt. Then there are the tales of her treasure. Molly was known to carry significant sums of money, often in silver coins. She would loan these coins to settlers in need, a seemingly generous act. But where did this wealth come from? We propose it wasn't just payment for her healing services. This was a meticulously managed war chest, a fund for the Abenaki resistance. By becoming a creditor, she created a network of informants. A settler in her debt was far more likely to speak freely about militia movements, crop yields, and the internal disputes of the colonial settlements. Each coin she loaned was an investment in intelligence, turning the colonists' own financial system into a tool for her silent war. One of the most famous legends speaks of a treasure she buried in Paris, Maine, its location marked by two traps hung in a tree. For centuries, this story has fueled countless treasure hunts with people digging up the countryside searching for her lost silver. But what if the real treasure wasn't gold or silver at all? What if the real treasure was the story itself? A brilliant piece of misdirection, a wild goose chase designed to send the colonists searching for phantom riches, distracting them from the real caches of supplies, food, and weapons she had hidden throughout the territory for her people. Her command of the wilderness was absolute. To the settlers who hired her, she was an indispensable guide, someone who could navigate the dense, trackless forest as if it were her own backyard. But to a spy master, this knowledge was a strategic blueprint. She wasn't just finding paths. She was mapping escape routes, identifying ambush locations, and establishing secret dead drops for messages and supplies. Every journey she guided was a reconnaissance patrol in disguise. It allowed her to observe the land, the movements of the colonists, and most importantly, confirm their profound ignorance of the very terrain they claimed to own. Even her death in 1816 did not end her mission. Her grave in Andover, Maine, became a place of reverence, a local shrine. The mystique she had so carefully built around herself was so powerful that in death she transitioned from a mortal woman into a guardian spirit. Her stories ensured she, and by extension her people, would never be forgotten. This was her final, most brilliant act of defiance. By becoming a legend, Molly Orcutt ensured the story of her resistance would survive. She had weaponized folklore itself, creating a legacy that was both a memorial and a warning. It's the ultimate proof that a story in the right hands is the most enduring and powerful weapon of all. As we know Molly Orcutt as a healer and the legend, now let's talk about her legacy. In her later years, Molly became a living landmark, a figure as much a part of the Maine landscape as the mountains and rivers she knew so well. But as her physical strength began to fade, her influence only grew stronger. This was the culmination of her life's work, to transform herself from a person into a permanent idea, an idea of resistance and cultural survival that would long outlive her. As the 18th century gave way to the 19th, Molly Orcutt's world had changed beyond recognition. The vast forests she once roamed were shrinking, cleared for settlements that were rapidly growing into towns. Many of her Abenaki people were gone, displaced by conflict or disease. Yet she remained. She continued her travels, a solitary, resilient figure moving through a world that was no longer truly hers. But make no mistake, she was not a victim. She was a chronicler, a living archive of a world on the verge of being lost. Every story she told, every traditional remedy she shared, was a deliberate act of preservation. She was ensuring that the Abenaki way of life, their knowledge, and their history would not be erased from the land. In her final days, she was cared for by the very settlers she had spent her life observing. They likely saw it as an act of Christian charity, a way to repay the Indian doctress for her many years of service to their communities. But looking through the lens of her lifelong mission, perhaps it was something more. Perhaps it was her final intelligence gathering operation. Even on her deathbed, she was learning, observing, completing her deep understanding of the people who had taken her world. She died on August 2nd, 1816, in Andover, Maine. She was buried in the town cemetery, a final, poignant twist in a life spent navigating the complex space between two cultures. But her death was not an end, it was a trigger. The legends she had so carefully cultivated throughout her life exploded into a full-blown mythology. Her grave became a pilgrimage site for those seeking luck or healing. People claimed to see her spirit walking through the woods, a watchful guardian of the land. The stories of her curses on those who wronged her and the treasures she supposedly hid grew more elaborate with each retelling. This was her true, ultimate victory. She had embedded herself so deeply into the folklore and the very identity of the region that she could never be removed. She had become immortal. Today, her name is everywhere in western Maine. There's a Maliocket Middle School, an annual Maliocket Day celebration, and countless trails, businesses, and natural landmarks that bear her name. The settlers, and later their descendants, in their attempt to honor the kindly Indian doctress, have inadvertently immortalized the very resistance they never fully understood she was waging. Every time her name is spoken, every time a child learns her story, her legacy is renewed, and the spirit of the Abenaki people lives on through her. The story of Maliaket is a powerful reminder that history isn't just written by the victors with swords and guns, it's also written by the survivors, by those who find clever, quiet, and persistent ways to resist erasure. She fought a different kind of war, not with weapons, but with knowledge, with perception, and with stories. She masterfully turned her enemy's ignorance into her greatest asset and their gratitude into her most effective camouflage. She was a healer, a spy, a legend, and above all, a testament to the enduring, unbreakable power of the human spirit. The lost pages of history are filled with figures like Maliaket, silent warriors who fought for their people in ways we are only now beginning to truly understand and appreciate. She wasn't just a piece of local folklore from a corner of New England. She's a blueprint for survival, a masterclass in the art of quiet, indomitable resistance. As we walk in the footsteps of an incredible journey of a true legend, Maliaket, a healer, a storyteller, a survivor, and yes, even a spy master, her story is so much more than just a footnote in a history book. It's a living, breathing part of the landscape of Western Maine. Think about it. Her name isn't just a whisper from the past. It's shouted from the rooftops, almost literally. You can find it on the Maliaket Middle School, standing proudly at the base of the majestic Jockey Cap Rock. You can walk the paths she once did on the Maliaket Trail System, a network that traces the historic routes she navigated between the vital Saco and Androscoggin rivers. Her legacy is literally etched in stone at Woodlawn Cemetery and carefully preserved in precious artifacts at the Bethel Historical Society. This isn't some forgotten folktale. Her story is celebrated with joy and community spirit every year at the Maliaket Day Festival. And for the Abenaki people, she isn't a myth, she's a revered ancestor, a powerful link to their heritage. It's clear that Maliaket played the long game, a game of cultural survival and enduring memory, and by every measure, she won spectacularly. But as we stand here at the end of our journey, one last tantalizing question hangs in the air. It is the very mystery that has sparked the imaginations and fueled the frantic searches of treasure hunters for over 2 centuries. Where did Maliaket bury her greatest treasure? For generations, people have whispered about secret locations. Was it stashed away on the remote Hemlock Island, hidden beneath the ancient trees? Or maybe it was near Paris, Maine, marked by a cryptic sign, "Two traps hung high in a tree," a signal only the initiated would understand. The clues are vague, the stories conflicting, all leading to dead ends and frustrated dreams of gold and silver. For 200 years, the puzzle has remained unsolved, a ghost story told around campfires. But what if the answer isn't buried under dirt and rock? What if the whole hunt, the entire legend of a physical treasure, was the most brilliant misdirection of all? What if the real treasure was something far more valuable, something that couldn't be locked in a chest or spent in a market? Today, that final mystery is answered. The truth is, Molly Orcutt's treasure was never silver or gold. It wasn't something you could hold in your hand. The treasure was her story, her life, her legacy, and she didn't bury it in the ground where it could be lost or stolen. No, she did something far more clever. She buried it in the culture. She hid it in plain sight, weaving it into the very fabric of the community that had once displaced her people. The names of their schools, their trails, their local festivals, these weren't just memorials, they were treasure maps, and in the most profound act of quiet resistance imaginable, she made the descendants of her enemies the unwitting guardians of her legacy. Think about the sheer genius of that every single time a child walks through the doors of the Maliaket Middle School and learns to spell her name, her treasure is being unearthed. Every time a hiker sets foot on the Maliaket Trail, feeling the same earth beneath their feet that she once did, her treasure is being discovered. Every time the town gathers for Maliaket Day, celebrating her name with laughter and community, her treasure is being shared. Her story is her gold, her memory is her silver. And by hiding it in the hearts and minds of the people, she ensured it would never be lost. It has made her immortal. The treasure hunters were looking in the wrong place all along. They were searching for metal when they should have been listening for a story. Molly Orcutt's greatest treasure isn't buried. It's alive, it's being discovered and rediscovered every single day. And that is a treasure far greater than any pirate's chest could ever hold. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the lost pages of history. If you've enjoyed uncovering this story with us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. We'll see you next time.